Right now, almost everyone interacts with AI the exact same way. You open a browser tab, you paste in your context, you ask a question, get your answer, and close the window. Then the next day, you start from zero and re-explain everything all over again. Starting with a blank slate every single time requires constant manual repetition. While you can eventually reach complex results in a chat window, the effort of re-uploading files and re-explaining goals makes it difficult to turn a multi-step process into a repeatable habit. We are going to fix that by setting up a single local repository. Instead of a temporary chat session, we will build a permanent digital office right on your computer, staffed by a persistent team of AI workers. To build this office, you only need 3 things: a code editor, a terminal environment to run commands, and an active Anthropic API key to supply the intelligence. Watch this visualization of the difference. The old way is a single, isolated channel of thought, waiting for your input. The new system relies on multiple interconnected nodes, simultaneously processing different parts of your task without needing you to click a single button. By moving the AI out of the browser and into your local machine, you stop functioning as a repetitive data entry operator and step into the role of a high-level manager. Step 1 is securing the workspace. We start by creating a dedicated folder on your local drive, completely detached from the constraints and timeouts of a web browser. We bring the foundational code into this folder by cloning the target repository from GitHub. Once it downloads, open that specific folder directly inside your code editor. The code needs its underlying framework to run, which developers call dependencies. Open your terminal window and type npm install. Duration.3 seconds, or the equivalent command for your specific language, to download those required packages. This diagram shows our folder structure. Create a dedicated file called .env at the project root, separate from the main application logic. Inside this locked file, paste your Anthropic API key. This establishes the direct pipeline between your local code and Claude's reasoning engine. Never upload this specific file to a public GitHub repository. If you accidentally commit your API key, automated bots will scrape it and consume your account limits in a matter of minutes. Your code editor will usually highlight the .env file in a muted color or add a specific icon next to it, confirming that the system recognizes it as a hidden, protected environment file. With that secure link established, your static, offline files now have full programmatic access to industry-leading artificial intelligence. An API key alone just gives you raw processing power. To build a functioning team, we have to write explicit instructions that assign specific identities and roles to that intelligence. Open the main configuration file in your editor. Think of this document as your digital organizational chart, permanently saving the exact parameters for every worker on your roster. Here, we define the researcher, assigning attributes like data access to scour sources for raw facts. We explicitly command it to stop once it has the facts. Arrows then flow into the copywriter agent, optimized for tone and relying entirely on the received data. Check your syntax highlighting. Commas and brackets align perfectly. Colors are perfectly consistent. Your configuration structure is sound and ready to run. The underlying code manages the handoff between these two roles. It applies a strict sequential logic, physically forcing the copywriter to remain paused until the researcher fully completes its data extraction. By dividing the cognitive load into specialized, narrow subroles, the AI focuses deeply on one specific requirement at a time. This reduces the chance of hallucinations and consistently outputs higher quality work than a single prompt. With the organization chart locked in, go back to your terminal window and execute the main run command to wake up the agents. We will feed it a test objective. Research the chronological history of the Office stapler, and then use those facts to draft a 3-paragraph marketing email. Here in the terminal interface, the system reacts immediately. Agent 1, the researcher, begins aggregating historical data, while Agent 2 sits in a waiting state. As soon as the researcher hits its stopping condition and logs its completion, the framework detects the change in status and instantly triggers the copywriter to ingest the gathered history. From the moment you pressed enter, you didn't have to copy a single line of text or click a single tab. The internal data transfer handled itself perfectly. Looking at the output, we get a highly polished marketing email. It perfectly integrates the specific historical dates the researcher found with the persuasive conversational tone we programmed into the copywriter. Achieving this level of detail through a standard web interface would require 3 or 4 manual prompt revisions, waiting for the generation to finish, and adjusting the tone yourself. Here, it happens in one pass. As this visualization shows, you have a persistent, highly scalable workforce expanding outward directly on your local machine, ready to execute complex sequences on demand. You can scale this operation immediately. Open your configuration file, copy the agent block, and define a third specialized worker, maybe a proofreader to check for passive voice, or a data analyst to review statistics before the copywriter begins. Mastering local agent repositories shifts the focus from performing the manual labor of prompting to designing the logic of the system itself. Once the architecture is in place, the terminal handles the execution while you refine the strategy.